people lose faith in their government, the result is the same, whether or not they lost confidence is justified. John F. Kennedy. Welcome to the Guyana Dialogue. I am your host, Shamiza Ali. Our topic tonight is an assessment of the budget 2026 in terms of development priorities, including the investment climate. The Guyana Dialogue is being sponsored by a coordinating council of Guyanese based in the US, UK, Canada, the Caribbean, and Guyana. Funding support is by well known philanthropist Dave Narine from Dave West Indian Imports. Please welcome my moderator for tonight, Dr. Tara Singh.
Thank you very much, Shamiza, and welcome to our viewers.
My panelists for tonight is Professor Muniram Budu and Dr. Vishnu Ram. Our guest tonight is the founder and owner of Dave's West Indian Imports, which is one of the largest importer and distributor of West Indian products here in the USA. Please welcome Mr. Dave Narine.
Good night, Shamiza. Good night, Dr. Tara. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Dr. Tara, please go ahead.
Yeah, we are barely seeing you, Dave, but tonight we are very pleased to have with us the sponsor of this program, Mr. Dave Narine. And we also welcome Dr. Vishnu Visram. We have missed him a long time on this program. And we have our regular panelist, Professor Muniram Budu. Today, we're going to chat a little about the budget 2026, some of its main features, and talk a little about the investment climate that it promotes. Right now, Dave is having some difficulty with videos, so viewers, we apologize for that, but you'll hear his voice. So Dave, I'll ask you to just do a quick rundown on the budget. What do you...
Dr. Tara, if I may interrupt, you want to give a background on Dave himself, because he's a very, very prominent businessman, not only in New York, where he owns, is the proprietor of several West Indian stores, as well as an importer and distributor, but in Guyana as well. He's well known as a philanthropist and as a sports personality, sense that he sponsors cricket and football throughout the breadth of Guyana. He's also into investing in various aspects of the, besides supplying goods from Guyana and other Caribbean destination throughout the United States and Canada.
Yeah, correct. Thank you very much, Dr. Vishnu. Dave, I know I thought you had been in Guyana to watch part of the budget debate.
Yes, it's one of my first time, but not one of my first time, for a long time. After many years, it's the first time I'm missing it.
I always there in Parliament, because I was there for virtually all of the budgets in Guyana.
I knew of Mr. too. Okay. Yeah. So Dave, give us a brief rundown on how you see the budget.
I see the budget as a magnificent budget. Of course, we have the naysayers. And, you know, I'm one person that does not like to say negative on the opposition. But how can you be so negative that you're going to say a $1.558 trillion is no good for Guyana and it means nothing to Guyana? The fact that Guyana has gotten to that 1.55 trillion, it can afford it. It means well across the country for each and every person, each and every ministry, each and every department. How on earth can you think so negative? If Guyana had a $2 billion project, you can criticize it. That, oh, you don't have money, you're running the country and you can't find money to have. This is my dilemma. How on earth can you say that? So coming back to your point, it's a tremendous thing, and they want to share this money. Public infrastructure. Everybody seems to think that we don't need public infrastructure. Guys, we happen to live right here in Queens by the Van Wyck and Hillside, Jamaica, Rockaway. Everybody will say for the last 20, 30 years, we've been building that highway and still building because of the bottlenecks of traffic. Guyana already is crawling with traffic. And the more the government is building roads, the government is doing a fantastic way. I mean, Dr. Tara and everybody driving on that highway, the Ogle, the Hero, and the one Dr. Barrett Bridge, and then the one to Kanaam over to Parika. It's like overseas highway. The point what I'm trying to make, we have to build infrastructure. We have to build the streets. We have to build drains. We have to build streets. And that will be, if we don't attend to that, then we will have a rich country. We would have nowhere to drive. Everybody would have two, three cars or vehicle, and there will be nowhere to drive. We will have more dams still. No, and this is where we have to commend the government in every aspect. The Ministry of Education, so many schools. The Ministry of Health, so many hospitals and so many health. What you call it, the health offices, or what you call them in the villages. They built so many. And you know what's the hard thing, Dr. Tara? I would not want to run Guyana. You know what, to the fact? Because 90% of the population live on the coast, and that is a fantastic, anybody can run that country. But to run water and electricity in those interior, in the Lethem and in the Essecubo and in the Berbice area, all over in the interior, it's a hard thing to accomplish. But guess what? The government is getting it accomplished. Sooner or later, they're already there getting water, getting solar, getting electricity, getting the hospital, getting a health. And we just have to be amazed about what the government is doing and how it's achieving its success for Guyana through the budget. And I commend the budget. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Dave.
You're welcome.
Let me just ask you a question before I put you on to Professor Buru and Dr. Vishnu. You speak about the highways is very important. You see, the trouble is the majority of people can't see the connection. They feel that all money must go directly to them or indirectly. It must be invested in infrastructure, especially physical infrastructure. The social infrastructure, they might more accept that because it's for education, health, etc., and social issues. So how do you see, how do you explain to people the importance of these? I mean, you just spoke about it, but don't you see that the infrastructure can bring in back important returns that will help to pay for some of these social services?
Doc, we were spending, I don't have the actual figures. The infrastructure We were spending so many billions of loss of money in traffic hours. You understand? 2 hours from Georgetown to over the bridge. 2 hours from airport to the bridge. You know, a loss of man hours. 4 hours from from Diamond Site to Georgetown. If you were able to calculate, and maybe Dr. Bistram can able to give us an insight on that. I wasn't prepared to get that figure, but we are gaining much. That's one of the things we're gaining, you know. And then you can go faster from all the from to the airport to. So if you could able to calculate that, the infrastructure is doing a tremendous job in terms of the farming, in terms of transportation across the hinterland, and everywhere it's faster, it's cheaper, and it will help the nation in terms of fuel costs. Instead of you sitting on 4 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour in fuel costs, it now maybe it's a half an hour or so. So it's a tremendous benefit, tremendous in terms of pollution. Instead of a vehicle being 10,000 vehicle, 4 hour in pollution, now it's 10,000 vehicle, half an hour in pollution or 1 hour, you know.
Mm.
So the country is gaining in all forms. You know, we have to spend 24 hours here discussing everything in detail. Doc, over to you.
All right. And Dr. Vishu, you want to follow up on that?
They've identified issues right away. While standard of living is going up and people are earning more and more money and they have more and more disposable income, they're turning to luxury items, cars, he mentioned, vehicles. And so you'll have families with 2, 3, 4 vehicles. The problem with that in the long term, and he identified, you have car pollution, but the problem is the traffic congestion. So building more highways, you're going to have more and more traffic congestion because your population is growing and more vehicles are on the road. What I would like to see is some kind of system. It doesn't have to be underground. It could be upper, as Dubai, as India has, as several European societies, Western, the Scandinavian countries have, above ground light rail. And I think the government should start making plans and preparation for light rail, and use some of the structure money towards that goal.
I think they're considering that for the East Bank and part of East Coast, um, especially to link the Georgetown to the Linden along the highway they are building from Linden to Mabur and then to Lethem. They are thinking of getting a railway link because that will facilitate the transportation of goods from Brazil, because Brazil don't have like a easy entry into the sea. So Guyana will provide that. Anyway, thank you for that, Professor.
Hi, Dave. Good to see you.
Hi.
Always very difficult to see you there, but
Yeah.
Um,
the 2026 budget contains a wide range of major national projects like deep water harbor, cross-border bridges, the gas to energy system that's in Wales, and the extensive housing development. However, media reports and findings from the Auditor General during the previous budget cycle highlighted several recurrent problems, such as implementation delay, substandard work quality, cost overruns, weak project management, and significant shortages of skilled and unskilled workers. If these root causes are not seriously addressed, they could undermine the impact of the government's ambitious 2026 development agenda. What is your assessment of these persistent issues? And are you aware of any government initiative to resolve these issues?
And that is a great point that we cannot um, avoid, and we cannot say it does not exist. It does exist. Let's address the labor. There is, because of the major boom that is going on in Guyana, and we did not prepare for it. And then we did not knew that Guyana had about 250,000 people more from this last statistics. We were always saying we have 750, 800,000. Now they're anticipating a million people. There was a tremendous, tremendous shortage of labor because 1 million people now is in the country and we have to service them when we thought we had to service 800, in gasoline and in food and everything else. So there is a shortage and there's nobody can lie about that. But the government has or is allowing a lot of companies to bring in people, bring in nationals, especially from Cuba, India, Bangladesh, Venezuela, Brazil, certain of those countries that and some other country and so they are giving immigration rights to those folks, and so that might able to help. Substandard work, yes, and that was created. It's a plus and minus. Where here how I would explain this, Professor. I am not getting away from the fact that there's not substandard work, but what they tried to do, the government, they had tens of thousands of road, and they did not want to give the two, three big guys like long time when they were giving just a few guys to do all the construction. So they choose to give work to all the villages or the contractor, little guys, to do the small work in the street and little thing. And of course, not all of them would do the best. We did have substandard work, right? And I agree that I'm telling you, your point is to the T. However, they are correcting everything. They are going to do the asphalt and one of the highway. Right now, they're looking for contractors to do that thing. So the government always looking. They're trying. They're trying. We can't beat them up as we want. They're trying. At the end of the day, Guyana is the fastest growing economy in the world. Be it what we say, and you know what? We might have some shortcomings, but we still is the number one, or we're the fastest, or one of the fastest growing economy in the world. So we must give credit to the government, right? Non-oil, we still have, I think, is the second fastest growing economy. So if we want to take off oil, we're still there. So I don't know if I cover all your point there, substandard and labor. Did I miss a point there, Professor?
I suppose we can argue some more about that, but I think the point is that the government is indeed trying, right?
They are, they are, they are, they are. They trust me,
But
they are.
I think I have my own position on
Well, here, the president is a no nonsense man.
right.
And his minister, he goes there and he cancel their contract, and he said that's it. And you can't say he's not a no nonsense man. He is there. That president sleeps maybe 4 or 5 hours only a night,
Mhm.
and he's there from 4 o'clock in the morning and visit the market and visit the construction and I told you just now that I would not be naive to say this. Whatever your point is, I'm not going to say it does not exist. It
Mhm.
exists, but we can't beat them up to because they are attending to it. The substandard work, they are attending to the labor shortage.
Mhm.
So yes, we don't want to beat them up as much, you
Mhm.
know.
All
As,
right.
as,
So here's another issue.
I,
Ghana appears to be experiencing many of the social challenges that often accompany rapid economic expansion. Including, as was mentioned before, and I've seen this firsthand, worsening traffic congestion and accidents, increased consumption of fast foods, and a growing emphasis on materialism.
Mhm.
Now, in other countries that grew quickly, problems like these eventually lead to notable declines in cultural values, public health, and overall quality of life. You have been traveling back and forth to Guyana for many years. Based on your observation, how serious are these emerging concerns, and what strategy do you believe could help mitigate these negative trends? Did you hear me?
Repeat back. Yeah, yeah, I heard it, but repeat it. I thought you were going to make a statement, so repeat back the question.
The question is, I said you were traveling back and forth to Guyana many years. Now,
Correct,
based on
correct.
your own observation, how serious are these concerns that I raised, and what strategy do you believe could help mitigate them?
No, raise back the concern. I
The
didn't,
concern,
raise back.
worsening traffic congestion and accidents, increased consumption of fast foods. I know you're in the food business, and a growing emphasis on materialism.
Professor, we have traffic jam all over the world. Eh? In Trinidad, you can hardly drive, right? But Guyana is very since the few highways made the was last year, the traffic jam has erased by 80%. 80% literally on the East Coast Highway and 90% on the Demar Bridge to Parika. Right? I think on the Diamond there is about 70-80% erased. And they have more highways to come. We will have traffic, and but they are working feverishly on things. Fast food. What's your question on the fast food?
No, I said these things actually lead to not fast food, the whole gambit of these things in terms of
Uh,
the consumption of fast food, the growing emphasis on materialism. These have been shown, right, to lead to declines in cultural values, public health issues, and overall quality of life. You
that
know,
is true, and that's factual. And in Guyana and Guyanese tend to go after these things as soon as they love they love the fast life
mhm,
because they were depressed for so many years
mhm,
um, over the Bornham days, and because we had a slow growth when all the other islands, in comparison to, let's compare to the West Indies, when
mhm,
all everybody they were had all little more vehicle and highway, we were at the back. So now everybody jumping as fast as possible to feel Americanized, if you want to use that word. And we were not able to stop it that easily. But we have also values. We have the religious leader from different religion, Christian, Hindu, Muslim, more or less, and I think all the religion are doing a fantastic job to keep uh, the people out of as much as possible for those materialistic thing and so forth. Um, but we would have a challenge. Eh? I am
yeah.
not saying we
Mhm,
will have a challenge, I'm glad you bring up a point that I travel a lot, and I don't. For the last 36 years, I'm importing into this country, and I never wanted to complain. If I have to complain, I'll be the first one to complain about Guyana and Guyanese in the business ethical world. It's not easy. I do business quite a few other countries, and Jamaica and Trinidad and in Europe and so on. It's a challenge.
mhm, mhm. Okay,
It's a challenge,
Dave,
but you know what?
I have
Yeah,
I have one more issue to raise with you and get your position on it,
yeah,
and then I'll pass on to
yeah.
Dr. Brown. Another issue I find as a consequence of growing economies is the widening economic divide between those who are positioned to seize new opportunities and those who are not. Whether due to limited education, lack of exposure, or over-dependence on government assistance, such as in Guyana case, the cash grants. As someone who rose from humble beginnings through dedication and hard work, what do you believe the government and the Guyanese people can do to ensure that the country's oil wealth is shared more equitable and that prosperity reaches all communities?
Very ticklish question. Very. Uh, um, I can answer that question two ways. I can answer that question and say, "Do not give," and I can answer and say, "Give." How you say? Because okay, let me answer two ways. Do not give, because if we do not give, because we are going to make them more lazy. And between me and you, I can hardly find employee to do my little stuff. Them, I have a little farm, I have a fish plant, I have warehouse, and I don't need a lot of employees, but I have a little household maid, and so because they're getting the free money. So I think you guys should answer me this. I mean, not I don't mean it that way. We're as panelists together. We can argue this thing, but I understand your point. But the government is indirectly giving back a lot in not raising taxes and all the 5,000, the different 5,000 cash grant and the school grant and the transportation thing. It adds up into the 50s and 60 billions of dollars, 200 billions of dollars. People basically want to go give them a 200 or $200,000 at their home. But if you check that the government did not raise any taxes, drop automotive the taxes on boat and the ATV and the vehicle, some of the vehicle, indirectly we getting back from the government. So we really, you don't want to make a lazy nation. I remember about 15, 20 years ago, I was trading in Trinidad. And when the government they took off, they closed the cane factory, and the Trinidad government started giving them some money, just like how we giving them. Everybody stopped work, and we have to watch that, or else we will create a much more labor shortage.
Mhm.
Go ahead, guys.
All right, I
Dr.
think
Farah?
we have to take a break. Yeah.
All right. We'll take a break and we'll be right back.
Okay,
We're
we're back. Dave, you're there?
Yes, I'm here. I'm here.
Okay. On the question of cash grants, I my personal view is I don't think that we should continue with the cash grant. I'm in favor of targeted cash grant for certain, like people with disability, or to help somebody start up a business, or to give you a start in building your home, as the government is doing now. I favor those type. You should be conditional, but this unconditional cash grant, I'm totally against that. Secondly, it's unsustainable. You can't sustain that for too long. And as you rightly said, this will cause people not want to work. Right now, the unemployment rate in Guyana is just about 6.5%. It has dropped from 14% significantly. Um, and those who are not working, as one of your colleagues said, it can be one of several reasons that either they don't want to work, two, a mother with a child at home, there's no father, might have to stay home to look after a few cases like that, and other people might try to seek work but are not having work with several tries. They get frustrated and they give up on that. Um, but they, I understand there's a study being done now, right in Guyana, to look at the whole question of poverty and income, etc., which can throw light on some of these things. But I want to draw you now to this idea of there's a lot of talk. A central theme has been the poverty level in Guyana. People are quoting from the UNDP report 58% poverty. It means that they're saying over half the population of Guyana lives in poverty, which is ridiculous. That's an old figure. It was in 2019, the World Bank said that the poverty level in Guyana is 48%. The UNDP went and revised that. I don't know if they had additional data and they come up with 58%. And especially people in the opposition have been mentioning the 58%. There are a number of writers in the daily newspapers in Guyana refer to this 58%. Now, today, I believe, Professor Taran Kamaraj, he's an economist, and
Yeah, I know of him. Yeah.
yeah, and Professor Randy Prasad wrote an article on talking about the same poverty and we call the Human Development Index. Guyana has jumped tremendously in the Human Development Index. Um, and they pointed out that they call a thing what you call multidimensional poverty. They said that's just 1.8% in Guyana, which is translate into about 15,000 people. But people at serious risk or who are vulnerable, that's that is they could be below the poverty level 6%, which translates into 54,000 might be the people who are vulnerable. So that's way, way below that 58% that people are talking about. As a matter of fact, the Human Development Index is a better indicator of people well-being than poverty index because the human indicator take into consideration your lifespan, your educational level, um, not the GDP per capita, but the GDP per gross national income. So they're able, of course, the longevity. They combine those four to arrive at the what you call a Human Development Index. So I think if I will encourage viewers to look at that article today. I believe it in the Stablic News by the two professors. But Dave, your view, you travel throughout the country. Um, you should have a good idea of the poverty level in that country. I know there are pockets of poverty, but those pockets are diminishing now. They are dwindling in size. So that's
So I share the same sentiment or view about cash grant as you. Um, I think we should give the people that really needs it, deserve it. And the last cash grant that we gave every Guyanese, I will tell you, I didn't collect it. None of my relatives collect it that we live over here. But I heard about so many friends and family from here. They just went there and collected. I said, man, how did you do it? I don't even know how to do it, but I'm not interested to take it. The other side, let somebody else get it. So I share the same view with you, Doc. We should not give any and anybody. We should come on. It's ridiculous leaving America. You're there in this country 30 year, 20, 30, 40 year, going to collect 500 US, 100,000, you give and take the conversion rate. And I'm not of the view of sharing that cash grant. Give the cash grant to the poor, the needy who know it. The other point, it's total rubbish about that 58% and 40 something percent. You are talking about 50 something thousand house lot last year alone giveaway. And then over the years, so many house lot. And you're talking about every year 10, 20, 30,000 vehicles coming in. And so many things, we give so many thousands of small contractors that created some the construction and so that's so how can we be still at 50 something percent? It's impossible. It's ridiculous. We took off so many taxes, 200 taxes we reverse, and all these things, and so much money the government give in all forms, give back the pensioner their taxes on whatever water bill and light bill and whatever. It can't. There's no that that has to be in in not double digit period. Guyana is the only country that you can sustain yourself. And why I'm saying that we get if once we get a little shed over our house, we plant a little tomato and a little kitchen garden. My parents they were teachers, and they used to plant a little garden, mine a little fowl or duck. I understand if you're living in Georgetown or in the city, yes, you can't do that. But those who are living there will get a good income or so as per se. We can't be in that poverty level. There's no way. We are not. You got to see these people, them how they dress. I've gone across the country, and maybe I can't even match them. They dress with the best boots and the pants and the short and the brand name and everything. And I am not envious of them. I am happy for my country. I've been promoting Guyana, not when oil found. 36 years ago, I'm bringing product here, promoting and trying to get people to buy. And eventually, this now that people are convinced and they want the product here. But it's a beautiful country, beautiful product, but we are highly critical. I've traveled, I went to Thailand, and the taxi driver, everything, they're talking so good about Thailand. You go to Jamaica, everybody talk good about Jamaica. They will have their hiccups, they will have their problem with the government. But this Guyana government is doing so much more for everyone, but we are not thankful. Why, as a nation, Guyanese, we can't be at least say thank you, government, at least trying. Yes, we have some faults. We do. But we are there. Everybody's trying to correct it. It's not like we're not correcting it.
Mm. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Dave.
Yeah.
Dr. Vishnu? Dr. Vishnu? Like he left us. Okay. Professor Bodu, over to you.
Uh, yeah, I just want to comment on this point about poverty. And I made this before. You know, um, Tari, we recently visited Guyana with you, and I had the opportunity to speak to a couple of people who claim they are poor, but I asked them what there are a lot of opportunities there because the hotel that I was staying, the manager told me that he can't find any single Guyanese to do anything there, and he
That's
was hiring Venezuelans and Cubans and so on, and he's willing to train Guyanese and pay them more, right? Well, when I mentioned this to these three people, they said, "Listen, man, we got to wait in the government. The government got a lot of oil money. They don't want to work." See,
Yeah.
right?
That.
What has happened? They have outsourced their responsibility for their livelihood with their family to the government, right? They want the government to take care of them, right? That's no sourcing of your personal responsibility. That is gone, right? To some people. course. Now, Vishnu is back, so let Vishnu.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
great.
yeah, um, Dave is right, and Professor Muni Ram is right. I go quite a time.
We can't hear you.
You're not hearing me?
Yeah, I can hear you a little better.
Okay. So as I was saying, I travel extensively all over the country, and I can tell you that I came across a lot of people who simply don't want to work.
Exactly.
They don't
Exactly.
want to work, and they're looking forward as though the government owes them something to give them grants. The more grants you give them, the more they want. And as you, Dave, and Professor Dr. Tara had indicated, cash grant is not the solution for
It's
any
not.
of these um, persistent poverty issues in Guyana. As Dr. Tara said, you should give grants to assist people to start businesses or to build homes. And it should be you see, I am totally against cash grants. I am for cash transfers as we have here to assist the poor, but it should not be a perennial cash transfer. It should be for a limited period of time so that people can lift themselves out of poverty. If you keep feeding these people, they will never be able to catch their own fish.
I totally agree. Totally agree. Totally.
So I think the president and the vice president both have said the cash grant is simply not sustainable, and it's not good for the country either. Dave went to Trinidad many times. He has seen what happened there when government start giving out cash grant. People refuse to go to work. I remember
Correct.
in Pinal and South Trinidad, you saw farmers at 5 in the morning going to farm, and when they started getting these 14-day um, grants, they stopped working. They stopped
Yep.
farming, and so you ended up with food shortages and so forth. So I think government should find a way to assist these very poor people to somehow help themselves with small businesses, whether it's in farming, whether it's in marketing, whether it's in producing, but something. Now,
Yeah,
Professor Muniram, substandard work, and they've commented on it. You see, one of the problems we have in Guyana is we don't have sufficient civil engineers to monitor the progress of work and to guide the new contractors how to build roads, how to build bridges, how to build houses. And so the government should really seek expertise abroad to guide and engage in modern construction of infrastructure as well as home.
well, the way how they can deal with assistance to people is you do a means test, as happening in other countries. To give grants, you do a mean test first. First, you check people conditions. I think this survey that they're doing now with the income and poverty study that will give people insight into the level, income level of people get, and you can translate it into poverty using physical indicators like the World Bank suggests. Um, to sustain one person per day is $6.85 per individual per day, US. So they can use that as a base and determine who really needs to get help and who not to. Anyhow, let's go back. Professor Budu, you had a follow up.
Uh, well, well, I'll follow up to what uh, Dr. Bishran said too, but and of course I want to Dave to address this. You know, the there's a lot of Guyanese I've spoken to who wants to investigate opportunities in Guyana from very from the diaspora. Right? Um, do how do you what advice would you give to the diaspora on how they can effectively capitalize on the emerging opportunities in Guyana? And do you believe that a government should consider offering special provisions or incentives, particularly in awarding of infrastructure contracts, to attract, say, greater diaspora involvement? Did you hear
Dave,
that?
I hear. Dr. Bishru answered first, and then I will come in.
You see, the country is in need of investment and investors, and it has opened the door to the diaspora. A few months ago, it was there. I don't remember if I was there. Exxon sponsored the Diaspora Forum in Woodhaven, Queens. There were a couple of hundred people there. Um, there are so many avenues for investment that I don't think anyone would be locked out. What I would like to see is one avenue of investment to create some kind of bank that we, the diaspora, could deposit our funds at a more lucrative interest rate that's being offered here in the US, so that instead of the Guyana government borrowing external, they can borrow from the diaspora, which is a form of investment. India did that about years ago, and it was successful in collecting $10 billion, which was a substantial amount of money at that time, for infrastructure development in India. So we could do something like that if people don't want to in Guyana supervise any kind of investment.
okay, Professor Bulu.
Well, I thought Dave got to
Oh, Dave.
answer.
All right.
Dave, go ahead.
So I like Dr. Vishnu point, but the government is not borrowing money at a high interest rate. I think all the interest rate the government is a 1.9, um maybe maximum at 2 point something percent. So
Yeah.
they were not able to want to borrow our money and pay us any substantial. But whatever point he made there, that's a great point. But you're not gonna make it for the government to borrow it. What we can do is the investors, them who have the road contract or whatever contract, we can pull 30 billion, no, not billion, 30 million US, whatever the diaspora here, and instead of those investors borrowing it from the Guyana Bank, and the Guyana Bank are 8, 9, 10, 11%, they can return it back to the diaspora for 5, 6%, 7%. Because the government is not borrowing money high, and they would not borrow it high.
Yeah,
So,
the minimum
yeah,
interest
go ahead.
for housing is 5%, but only for 30 million Guyana dollars, and for
Right. So,
the
right, go
project,
ahead.
substantially more.
Mhm. Um,
So, um, but that kind of thing. The other thing, Professor, is that every day somebody reach me and they want to invest in Guyana. I say, but what you want to invest? They don't know. I say, you have to get a plan. You have to know what you want. You understand? So
Mhm.
we have, because the thing, people, because it's Guyana, everybody think Guyana is a wishy-washy country. But every
Mhm.
day I am learning Guyana have so much laws about mining and laws about everything else. It's a very, very a country with a lot of stuff, maybe because we were British oriented. So we have to know exactly what we want to do, Professor. I
Mhm.
meet people on the street, man, can you get me a gun license or a driver license? I say, you how long you put in? Oh, then I put in yet. I said, boy, you need some licks. Man, I'm looking for a house lot. You how long now you put in? Then I put in for a house lot. But I am not facilitating, but because of they know who I am. It's not like I can facilitate it. I can tell them to go to the Ministry of Home Affairs or
Mhm.
wherever to fill your form and so. But this is a situation they want to do investment, and they think that you know it's an easy thing. Like, Guyana is open. The government is open. Trust me. You
Mhm.
put a viable pact there, they would not refuse you. You understand?
Mhm.
So we can argue it both way. Trust me.
Mhm.
Go
Let
ahead,
me
Afro.
let me ask you a related question, right? Now, how would you, what advice would you give, say, to the youths of Guyana on how they can effectively capitalize on emerging opportunities? Since we are talking about poverty and other things here.
Well, I think listening to the budget,
Hmm.
I think they have a lot of stuff for the youth. And there uh, through all the different ministries offering. Like today, I listened especially to the sports one, where they have certain things for sports, Windy Ministry, you know. Um, I personally can't answer that one. That one I would take not to try to answer because I don't know how to answer it.
Hmm.
But there are a lot of schools. They're opening a lot of different school. Um, for opportunity, they open a lot of businesses. The president get all these shared houses now. He's going on the country. So I guess those are some opportunities. But I would not be able to answer you
Uh,
directly.
all right,
I
Dave.
wish I could. Yeah.
Let me add to that. The government has some skills training program that's being
Yes. Yes.
conducted through Tibet, the Tibet program that is under the Ministry of Education, and also the BIT program that is the Board of Industrial Training under the Ministry of Labor. For the past 5 years, under the BIT program, they trained over 14,000, mostly young people. And then the Tibet program consists of things like the government technical institute throughout the country. Then they have the gas and oil facility that's being built at
Lot of services. Yeah.
Port Morant. Then you have the hospitality training school that's being established. So there are many training establishments that are being constructed, and people are being trained in every area locally. Plus, the University of Guyana, of course, does training for engineers, doctors, pharmacists, etc.
And it's all,
No,
doctor,
go ahead.
and it's all free.
Hmm?
They're all free programs.
Oh yeah, and they're all free. That's another. Um, the I just want to. Some people are concerned about the borrowing that the government is doing and arguing
Yes. They're all.
it's
Yeah.
not.
So that's
Let
why I
me,
said I know there was a lot of stuff, but
yeah,
thanks, Dr. Tara, for all those factual
but let me.
information.
The borrowing that they're doing is well within the acceptable range of sustainability. Right now, the the debt to GDP ratio is 26%. The Talbot range is from 1 to 60%. So you can go as much as 60% debt to the GDP ratio. So Ghana is just 26%. So they are fine. People who speak about this, they don't have an idea of how the actual financing goes. So it might look big in terms of volume, but they don't work like that. And Guyana has the capability of paying back this debt. There's no the final thing I want to say. I'm very when people land one, the place they want to go is the stock market or either the border market. I noticed the government allocated $2 billion to rehab or improve, enhance both. What are your views on that, Dave? And should they also look at Lapentans and kitty markets as well?
I agree with you. I agree with you. But because those two are the two landmark, they tend to maybe. But I agree that maybe all the markets should be Kitty and Lapenitas. But Doc, I have gone to Kitty. There's nothing much happening there. And La Penitence, I drive through it. So, so maybe if we could do those two markets and do it very good, that's where most of the vendors and the people go to. But I agree with you, But I think Kitty Market doesn't have much now because I drive around there. I
But
drive
Dave,
through La Paz. Yeah,
all of the markets are being upgraded. Lenora has a spanking new market.
all the market, Lusec, Manripo Market, everything, Skellen, everything. Right.
Yeah, yeah. The markets in Stabrook and Border Market really needs to be upgraded, as well as those two markets as well. When I live in Georgetown, I will normally go down and buy at La Penitence, sometimes at Kitty as well. But I don't know if the Kitty market is still viable. But La Penitence is still ongoing. I think. Anyhow, Dave, I know we have come to the end of this program. And I want to thank you very much for spending some time from a hectic schedule. So I think that
No,
I
I
don't
appreciate it. I appreciate it.
I
Yeah.
I don't know if Shamiz have any questions, and she might ask you to do the closing remarks. If you have any questions, Shamiz, over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Tara. We have some concerns that was shared by our viewers. So this one is from Ramona, and she says, I'm quite happy with the budget, with the exception of a few areas. The luxury items do not necessarily need to have all the taxes removed, but where the old people are concerned, meaning those over the age of 65 who suffered during the Burnham dictatorship and the APNU AFC, who were trying their best, who were tying the belt and not highly educated, may not have had the ability to contribute to NIS benefits. This group are independent on handout and very often their children turn their backs on them. These very vulnerable individuals should have been better catered for it in the budget. How many of these highly educated individuals ever go out to give any handouts? Why is it that the middle age group should receive so much help? It is my opinion that they should not put aspirin between their knees. Um, it is my opinion that they should not put an apron between their knees and squeeze it tightly. Reduction in water bills and electricity, in my opinion, should be available to the elderly. This will provide not be here for the local government election, and these are the diehard PPPC old people. Dave, your comment on that?
Isn't there a tax a no tax or something on water bill and light bill?
There's a
Dr. Tara.
subsidy. There's a
Yes, right,
subsidy.
right. I think this is a Shamisa. Listen, the government cannot do everything overnight. I think they've been listening to the public every budget every year, and they bring it into being. That 4x4 vehicle, and they reduce it. For years people were begging for that four-door vehicle. They finally bring it after 10, 15, 20 years. And we agree with Ramona, not that we agree, but if every they can't like everything address overnight. They have 5 more years in for this term, and I think it will be addressed. I think between me and you, within the next year or 3 year, we'll be a tax-free country, as per se. The government is, the one to help the people. They are helping the people, but there's so much you cannot get a 1 trillion income and give away 2 trillion. They are trying the best. They are borrowing money and as Dr. Tara say, to give us, when I say us, the nation, but they know the ability to to pay back. They're borrowing enough that if anything crashes, they know they can pay back. And we are fixing up all. We finish all the schools, the hospital, the public infrastructure, the Demara Bridge. Not every year we'll be fixing, so many $190 billion in infrastructure. Not so sooner or later, when those amount come down, we will be able to advance those money towards the elderly, especially the elderly, especially water and light, especially tax free. And by the end of this year, we are preparing to get half of our fuel costs. We're preparing to get the fuel cost by half, gas to energy. So the government is trying. And watch and see. Once we able the infrastructure, then we're gonna finish. We can never stop and finish infrastructure, but there will be a saturation point. Like 80% going to finish, 80 or 90%. We always have to build 10, 15, 20%. That money, the government will give it to the nation. They're already giving so much, but what we are saying, they want to give every Guyanese. I don't think we should give every Guyanese. And this is where if they correct everything, don't give every Guyanese, we could able to give the old people them. One Ramola is saying. That's it.
Thank you, Dave. And now, Dave, I believe it was Professor Buru that mentioned that our people, there's a loss of culture in Guyana. And you mentioned that, when you go around the place, you see these people dressing so nicely. Do you think our people have lost their sense of direction? And how do you think this can be fixed?
Um, Let me answer it. We got excited. We never see money, and we got see money. We never see new vehicle, and we see when we say we never see. I mean, we were limited to all these things. But there are people that are religious. There are people that coming back to reality. At the end of the day, it's not everything that glitters is gold. So the practicality is that we are seeing the youths them getting back into sports, where the government is trying to get all these grounds and all these facilities, which will within a year or two, everyone getting, we will get the youths them involved in all these kind of activities, be it dancing, be it sports, whatever, and we were able to change back the nation, not to be that um, fast-paced nation where we can lose out to our people. Go ahead.
Thank you, Dave. Now,
Everything we're talking tonight, I think, we can't solve it tonight. Well, I don't mean it tonight. I think everything in the pipeline, sooner or later, we can able to solve it. Yeah, go ahead.
listener, now you do travel a lot. You travel back to Guyana. You've traveled around the world. If you were given an opportunity to move back to Guyana and make that home again, will you do that?
Yes. You know, the mere fact that a lot of people don't see, we were able to live longer because of the pollution. We will eat everything fresher. We will eat fresh fruits, fresh everything, greens, meat, fish, everything. We will be in a less pollution place. Weather-wise, if we don't like the winter, we live tropical. And it's people just left this country and they went Guyana, just eat their nice little food. Those for those who like don't have to go and work back in Guyana and so forth, as per se. They retire, they have enough money, and they just enjoy the life. I will do it, and I'm planning to do it. And actually, I said if the next winter, I'm not staying here. I can't. This was a brutal winter, and I can't.
Yeah.
As I get older, I'm not old like them boys, but my body can't handle this. It
Mhm.
can't. So there's no way to punish myself here when we have beautiful Guyana,
Mm.
All right.
nice fresh fruits, and
I think
yeah, good.
we do have a question before we go from Mahindra. Hari Raj, he says, Dave, is there anything that government can improve on at this moment? If so, what would be two areas? And how does qualified people play a part in key roles based on their qualifications?
Thanks, Mahendra. Qualify. The thing is, government want as much qualified people, and Mahendra himself is a highly qualified person. But the fact is that the government cannot pay these qualified people in comparison to a USA pack pay. You know, an average professional makes 150,000 US. A good profession. We can't pay that person $30 million in Guyana unless it's a real demand. We go pay one or two of them, but we can't. We're not in that thing yet. Maybe in a few years, when we finish off all our expenses for building hospital and school and infrastructure and airport and whatever, then we can pay that high pay professional. We need to pay them, but to be honest, the government can't afford to pay them presently. So, and the question was is two things the government can do, uh,
Improve on.
improve on. Oh, I'll leave that to my panelists. Dr. Taram, should answer me there.
I think they have to tighten the oversight and the awards of contract. That is where most of the
Correct, correct.
allegations of wrongdoing take place. It is a serious issue, and the government has to. As a matter of fact, the president did say that they will set up a special unit to deal with corruption, allegations of corruption. Um, so that is one area. The second area, as Professor Buru has always suggested, they should have in the area of construction in particular, um, they need to get what do you call it, Professor Buru, a project manager
Yes,
or
a sort of umbrella project management to oversee the project,
to
to make
oversee
sure
the
they're in
project.
time, on budget, right? And let the politician do politics and the policy, and
Mm.
let the technical people do all the technical jobs. You see,
Yeah,
uh,
those are two. I'm sure there are other areas that they can work on, and
I think there's
one of
another
the
area here, Tar, that is very important that came out of this and many other
mm,
discussions we have there, and that is the government is not doing a very good job at messaging, right? And I've mentioned this many times, right? For example, in the cash grant area, that is not the only money that they get. When you look at what Dave is saying, right? They get reduction in electricity bill, right, and all these other things. I'm sure there are people there who can work out what's the equivalent dollar amount, right? And you have to let this message get because you can build all these things, right? But people got to be able to internalize what is happening in the country, right? Remember, we are coming out of poverty, right? And this government is only there for what, 6 years now, right? So if
mm,
they're doing a remarkable job, but they have to carry these social uh, issues and try to solve them.
All right. Dave, we will ask you
Yes.
for your closing remarks at this time.
So my closing remark is that what can the government do? And so we talk about they say about the public works or whatever say just now. So the government means well. The president say to execute contract. The minister oversights it. The minister gives the PS. PS execute the contract. Then that goes to the worker and the engineer. And then the engineer, it does not fall on the politician. And the politician, especially the minister, gets accused. especially like for, let's talk about the contracts and substandard work. We get an engineer now dealing with the man on the road who is fixing the road. And that is when we can't control things. That is when we don't know what's behind the scenes. And we all know about Guyana. Guyana would always be Guyana. Guyanese would always be Guyanese. So we have to say the facts. All right. So we can't, and somebody says we just had 6 years. And when we came back, we were a bankrupt budget. We didn't have no money. 6 years ago, we came into COVID. Then uh, we came into drought. We came into excessive rainfall. But I am so happy that we have the president, the former president, these guys, and maybe the finance minister with a whole cabinet. I'm not gonna, you know, they just took this country with all those things that was happening to the country and just run with the country with the surplus, give so much cookies and toys, meaning so much goodies with cash grant. And we need to say thanks. We need to be thankful. Yes. And I said, I am not denying anything. But at the end of the day, if this guy, the government brought the country to the fastest growing economy in the world, why can't we say thanks? And in the meantime, let's make our objection. We know everything can't be smoothly. We know there is kind of whatever, I don't want to use the word corruption as per se. It's a hard word, thing. But we know hanky panky, whatever is happening and so on the streets. The policeman stop you on the road and whatever. But I saw the president said today 42,000 ticket was issued through the non-policemen, the cameras. 10,000 was paid already. That's that's income for the country, and nobody can now. If you do not pay it, your license will be suspended. We have to get systems like this, and this is where the minister Zulfi, the new minister, comedy efficiency, Ghana is getting there. But our problem was we got to go to all these departments and then get you running every day in and out for customs or for this or that or that. This will stop sooner or later. When all this implemented, you go, you get a birth certificate, you go, you get a custom document, you go, you clear your car, whatever it is. And we will get a hybrid system and we will have a beautiful Guyana. Let's stay strong. Let's get our hands up, and trust me, it will happen. That guys like Dr. Tara, them 30, 40 years ago, and Dr. Vishu and all these professors, they were the one who saw the PNC days. I happened to see it as a little boy. You don't want to go back to the dark age. I happened to live at 60 Village with Arna Rampasad, where he was beaten and thing, and that's why it make me. I don't want to see back that. If you Google Arna Rampasad, for those that man struggled for the PPP party because PNC wanted him to give up against Chetty, to say things against Chetty, so they can lock up Chetty. And I am not, you just want the correct thing for Guyana. I'm a Guyanese. This or that. I am a Guyanese. So, closing remarks. Let's be positive, guys. Let's help the country. Let's advise the country, and let's move forward. Thanks.
Let's be grateful, everyone. With that said, I do want to thank all of our viewers for taking the time to be here this evening. Thank you to our panel and our guests for being here tonight. Thank you, Dr. Tara. And until next time, I am your host, Shamiza Ali, and this is the Guyana Dialogue. Good evening, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you, our
evening.
panelists and Dave and our viewers. Thank you.
That's right.